pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City of Grant records its meetings. You can see the equipment's there and over here. It will pick up what you're saying in the audience. Just a heads up. The City of Grant abides by the Open Meeting Act when conducting business. A copy of the Open Meeting Act is on display in this meeting as required by the Nebraska state law, which is on this wall here. You can also Google it and it will come up online. Also, due to the city or the Open Meeting Act, we have a pocket in the council chambers. It's located on the counter. And it needs to be left on the counter for public inspection, and this is due to the rules of the Open Meeting Act, which is there for inspection. Thank you. The city, the mayor and the city council reserve the right to enter into closed session at any time during the meeting in accordance with the Nebraska Open Meeting Act, even though the closed session may not be indicated on the agenda. It is the intention of the mayor and the city council to take up items on the agenda in the order they are presented. However, we reserve the right to take up matters in a different order to our schedules. The city of Grant further reserves the right to adjust the order of the agenda. Anyone wishing to speak during public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person, with a limit of 2 individuals speaking per topic position. And you would need to come to the podium, clearly state your name, your address, and the agenda topic you wish to speak on. Sir, Pearson, here, Fisher, here. We are called to order at 7:01. Turn to the Meeting Act review and action of agenda test for the agenda. We wish to approve the agenda for June 25th, 2020. Can we move to any seconds? Yes. We approve our agenda for June 25th, 2024. Andrew, how do you vote? Sam? Yes. 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 Motion carried. Review and action of prior meeting minutes for 2024.
Accept June 18th, 2024 minutes and waive the reading.
And move to the second that we accept the prior meeting minutes from June 18th, 2024 and waive the reading. Any discussion? Attorney, can you go please? Yes. Sam? Yes. Everybody? Motion. Communication letter.
Yeah, so I'm in the process of trying to look up for a structural engineer to review some of the structures at the park for our last meeting. I reached out to Mr. Linville, a civil engineer, to give me some names and contacts for that. So I've sent some emails out, no responses yet. Give them a lot of the their businesses and construction systems, so they're probably on site reviewing projects and so on and so forth. So the majority of those types of engineers are located about this inside of the state too. So we can feel really fine. So I'll wait a couple of days before I reach back out to him, but that is a process we're working on for our last meeting to determine the integrity of those markers that get followed. Rock Garden, I think is what it was originally called in that National Historic Register application. As well as Ron Code. Actually, it's the entire park. It encompasses the park, but it's specific structure within it, as how you get transport, so on and so forth. So I'll have some more information there for you guys hopefully soon. Obviously, our goal is to restore if we can restore if it's economic feasible. Last ditch effort, or last option would be get to state locations. It's no longer safe, or it was deemed unsafe by the structural engineer. What do we do from there? We can't restore it economically. This demoing and that type of stuff look like. That's not our goal. I believe our goal is to restore it, so it is safe going into the future as well, so I think that's probably the best bet there, so. Then, yeah, just based off today's meeting, CRA's gonna queue up the rest of my time frame and preparing resolutions and amortization schedule. I'll get to that at the meeting. In the standing committee reports, but great news coming there. And then, we'll have a citizens advisory review board. They'll meet Tuesday, July 2nd at noon. Main purpose of that meeting is to determine the amount of funding that the CRA will receive for the subdivision. A qualifying swim meet on July 6th, Saturday, July 6th. So if you can, I think it'd be beneficial if you guys just swung by the park and looking at that. Our goal is to host a championship swim meet in the future. He's going to alternate sites between east and west. So this year with the west, the championship site is at Ontario. So I assume next year we'll go east and come back to us. I hope we'll put our best foot forward. And based on our illness with me and the replies that they've got from some things that were here, I think we'll be in the right for sure. They got it right. I love it. And then that takes us to July 9th, cemetery board meeting at 5:15 p.m. And our next city council meeting on August square close of its service. And for this, I can report. Please head over to the park and enjoy the chamber festivities that day. They do one heck of a job and like the car show, everything else encompasses that whole area. Volleyball. It's going to be a full day, so we're looking forward to that.
Is the Army band still?
Army band is July 12th. Tentatively. They do have school has agreed to allow them to use the school if the parents think that. Great, it's we need it. So, but really amazing to have them be part. Use the band show. They're the band show. They're going to send a couple of individuals to these formal measurements. I'm not musically inclined, so I don't really know what that means, but I assume on the reverb off of it.
3 different locations.
Yes. So, yeah, July 12th, band again, another great opportunity to showcase their art. Three things I think that.
Standing committee reports.
Pretty much benefited from the last library meeting. That is for board Thursday.
There,
That was just
the tree board just worked on that, showing me questions. Why? Purpose for that.
there were points for our 4 questions reworded too, so the questions coming in 15 total questions. It seems to be very popular. Of course, that's largely in part due to Matt Chandler Smith. So he played up on Chase. So it's very cool to see kids all rush over there and like, I know the answer to this tree trivia question. One was like, are you excited about trees? That's awesome. So,
Jerry, Sam, you just jumping. I'm sorry, Jerry.
CRA met in Maine today. Main mission there was awarding the bid for infrastructure improvements to the new mission support block and the property. 3 bids received. Myers, BSB Construction, and Van Kirk. Van Kirk was the low end, they're out of 7. I had an opportunity to speak with Jeff Hofaker, who's their city administrator for 7. And he compared them doing the this works a little bit here. It'd be similar to our play and show case break. So when this project they call plays, the open purge. Similar to how we like to operate locally and trying to so exciting news there came in at just $823 and $70, which was a little bit after the engineer's estimate was. So that was very pleasant news. In fact, Jesse's like, I'm just gonna go back and rework the numbers. This might be scary. Seeing funding opportunities as well as the long-range plus First National and that's Yorkland, Yorkland, Landy. Not true. Points keep the bonds for between $400,000 and $500,000, based on budget funds. This meter. It's just it's 0. There's hopefully July 9th, city council meeting for your dust. Fiscal year. Exciting news there. Yeah, public hearings. Brian and I'll get back to me. Extension. Structure completion. Structure ready to lots for Christmas. So someone can buy one as a Christmas present. And that was with gospel options. The announcements. It's great. It's like suggesting about 18 times when I was at NCMA. You know, an update, what are they talking? It's like, hang on.
Thank you. All right, now financial Jesse's or yeah. All right.
The main thing is you're gonna see that native balance and the debt service, cash balances again, that's what that'll be. Get them here to the state of virtue. So the main thing that we looked to me, I guess.
Typical. And you guys. It's not getting so full financial. Thank you for. Yeah.
I talked to a resident of Grant the other day.
Sorry, please, Aaron.
Oh, Phil Calkins, I live at 10 Grassland. I talked to a resident the other day about this nuisance. And good discussion, and he says, well, do you want your city to look terrible or do you want it to look good? Obviously, I want it to look good. Well, I want to know if anybody's exempt from cleaning up. Then next time you do a report, I want to see it on the city streets. We got weeds in the streets. It needs to be cleaned up to have our community look nice.
I'm Jaden. I live at 445 Warren Avenue in Grant, Nebraska, 69140. My PO box is 172. And that's Grant, Nebraska as well, 69140, not Louisville, Kentucky, where my nuisance letter and my wife, Jenny, who's sitting over here, went to. So I sent you guys an email at your office. I don't know if you got it or not, but you work for the same. So I'll start off by saying thank you for your guys' service. I want the fair board to understand, you know, I don't know if you guys are paid, obviously Ed, Jesse, you guys are. I'm sure you're probably getting paid for the taxpayers' dollars, but you know, it takes a lot of time and money to go ahead. You don't get a kickback being mayor. But you don't get paid any money at all.
$1,000 a year.
Okay,
It's not. It's like-
okay. Well, anyway, I appreciate your guys' service around the community. Now regarding your nuisance letters that's going on. So I sent you guys an email and you probably read it, but I want to read it for you guys too, since it sounds like there's some great communication going on between the nuisance committee and the city of Grant. And this was like Erica Bush. I don't know who she is. I talked to her yesterday on the phone and I lost service because I was up in the Sandhills. Erica, we, meaning my wife Jenny and I, never received a letter at our mailing address. Either my wife or I signed for a letter about an organized, and I put it in quotes, nuisance in our alley that seems to exist. Maynard Hanson's my neighbor in my alley. I think his property looks great. It's buttoned up. He does have some items out there from his hobbies, but so do I for my business. If I had a nuisance, I think Maynard Hanson would come to me and say, Sean, you got to clean your act up, man. This looks horrible. I'd probably do the same to Maynard because we're two men. And, you know, that's how we'd handle our business. We wouldn't go through a third party company that, you know, has to do that. That's a side note. Excuse me. So like we discussed, and I was talking to Erica based off our phone conversation, I said, I'm disappointed our city leadership can't come to me one-on-one about an ordinance I didn't know existed, Ed. In my opinion, hiring a third party, and no offense to your guys' company, I'm sure you guys do well. You know, it's great that you guys got jobs. I don't know if it's government funded or not, is it? Or is it privately funded? Nonprofit, there you go. 501c3 probably. Hey. So in my opinion, hiring a third party shows disconnect with the citizens. Most of these folks in this room, this guy that's lived here just about as long as the trees that have grown in front of my house that you took pictures of, shows disconnect with the citizens and lack of leadership. Regarding our nuisance, and I'm going to do air quotes because that's what I did in my letter, of having 3 pallets that I use once in a while and a tire, it's actually 2 tires I looked before we came, that still fit my utility trailer, that are backup tires, and that still hold air, and a snow plow, not scrap metal, for my ATV that I need because the city V-plows snow blocking our driveway after a snowstorm is considered a nuisance, I will clean it up. You got my word on that. And I look you in the eye, Ed, and I'll clean it up. That's what we do as people, right, in this county. I don't need a third party to come and do business for me. But I will also hope to have a stronger leadership to vote for our next upcoming election if this is how we're going to handle business in this great city that we live in. I think you guys have done some great things in the city. I truly believe that from the bottom of my heart. But this deal is out of control. Going up and taking a picture of the front of our house is fine. I'm sure that's your job. I'm not slandering you for that. But it looked fine from my view. And the biggest problem is Jenny and I didn't even know that we were a nuisance to the community. You know what a definition of a nuisance is, Mayor? What is it?
Yeah, wow. For instance,
Okay, what's the definition of a nuisance? The Oxford Dictionary says a thing, person, or situation that is annoying, causes trouble or problems. So my last thing I'm going to say is this in my letter. You can't please everyone, but making a mountain out of a molehill that doesn't exist is slightly insane. And I'll leave you guys with a biblical verse from Matthew 7, chapter 12. You guys all listen? So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law of the prophets. I hope we can all dwell on that as we go home tonight. Thank you for your time.
that was our second comment on nuisance. Is there any other public comment besides nuisance?
Sarah, one more time.
Tom McGuire, 542 Central Avenue.
I received one of those nuisance letters as well.
Already had two on the.
So you just asked if there was anybody else that had one. Marlon Wendell, 312 Logan Avenue. No, this is not about nuisance, but I think you guys are going about handling the public comment. Him, I know, was at the recent school board meeting, and I think maybe you ought to take notes of how they handled it, and just shutting the people up and ignoring them it's not going to work forever. And I had my attorney come here last year and try to talk to you, and obviously there's been no changes in process. I've heard of people getting letters with all the scams going around, have a postcard stating their property and then say the city of Imperial. That's pretty embarrassing for who's ever being paid for that. And mistakes happen, but it's time to get this under wraps and get it straightened out. It's the chairman of the board, and it needs to get under control. As far as most people are concerned, just ditch the whole thing. Thank you.
Correction for the record, I'm no longer the chairman of the board. It's recently voted on their June 5th annual meeting. Such. Promise.
City council members believe that since each should be a separate agenda item, they would like to allow public comment only due to its separate, each of the separate agenda items. So, I assume.
Sorry, Scott McGuire, Property Central. I got one of these letters with the pictures. And the writing on there, the pictures fine. I cleaned up that already. I can show you pictures that I took a little bit ago. And show you those pictures. But a lot of the writing stuff on there about junk vehicles and crash and metal and all this stuff laying on this. That would be the neighbor to my north. Not my property. I don't know who needs to see the pictures. One of you guys reading it, does it? Or who needs it? Yeah. Stuff like on the street with a junk vehicle and all that to my north. You get your back straight and pass through all of this stuff instead of just sending letters, and you clear up a lot of this stuff. Now what do I need to do about this? Would you like to see the pictures as well, ma'am?
Hey, I'm Janet Hanson at 436 Central or Sherman Avenue, and here in Grand, of course. And I guess a lot of mine is like, I know my husband is the border of all times, and it's been a horrible mess back there at times, and I'm the first one to holler at him and tell him to clean it up. But when I got the letter and I saw the pictures, I was even in shock because I hadn't been back there for quite a while, how clean it was. There's a few things out there. It's stuff that he uses. There was a little trailer back there, and I mean, it's not very big, which I didn't even know we owned. And I said, so where does the trailer come from? And he goes, well, I use it around the yard, and he was hauling stuff around the yard. It doesn't have plates on it. He's never driven it on the street. He hauls it in his bigger trailer that has plates on it. Number one. So, I mean, I called her today. They're concerned about a couple or three or whatever back there, four of cinder blocks that he uses when he changes oil or cleans out from his lawn. They're not like, there's nothing piled up like trash to harbor snakes and rats. I mean, I'd be the first one hollering if that was, because if I see in my yard, it's not pretty. So I guess that's where I'm kind of at. If it's not trashy, it's stuff that they gotta use common sense. We're a little town. Guys do stuff themselves, really. So I guess that's one of my first things. The other thing is, how much money are we spending on this program? I mean, $7.36 for a certified letter. There's 18 of us here, and I know you've done it before. Plus paying them, I'm sure they're not doing it for free. So how much do we spend on paying them to do this? And they have a figure? I know you don't, but we're paying them, and they're putting it in their billing. I'm sure they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Really, you hired them? How many years have they been doing it now?
Thousands of budget items. Yeah.
I mean, how many years have they been doing this? Really? So I haven't even known about it, and this town's not that big. But another thing is, we've got city guys that drive around town, garbage people up and down our alleys all week long. I mean, if there was a nuisance, they report it to you guys without hiring them, and then we get a letter. Is that not something possible? You don't even have to drive around the alley. I can go from just around town and tell you half a dozen properties that their yards are a mess, but they don't seem to be getting anything to clean them up.
Things. Push it a third use so that if I get print. So your yard is pretty. Right, as a counselor, the council will. Don't be sweet. Sweet out. When they get out, they don't know anybody is. So one of us can get a letter, the city has got a letter before, Ed's got a letter before. Like Emily's got it's because the reason we have a third party is you're on. One complaint favorites.
Well, there's enough of you that I think you could all agree on who needs the letter. You know, if you say, said so-and-so, go check it out. There's other people to sign that letter besides you.
I'm just telling the reason that it was starting.
Well, I think this is what it's costing this little town of 1,200 people is ridiculous. Town of what, a mile each direction? My gosh, if you can't have somebody driving around and checking properties that are rat infested or snake infested, so it bothers other people, that's something, you know. But for items that are used by unfortunately, people that like to do their own handiwork is ridiculous. So I think this needs to be, better under control. Thank you.
Any other?
Probably exact hours, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, would be
15,000 per year this year.
how many years is this gone? Build out.
Year.
2010 was the first year, and then we did take, we did take a pretty good gap. I do not know the reason the gap was taken here, but reached up 2011 and do another nuisance review until 2021.
And we do have community members that have asked for this, that's. I mean, most of the things that the council does because community members ask. People to take care of themselves. So. I'm gonna take, you know, two public work guys. Two office people full time, there's no way. For our small staff to take care of. What we hire.
Sorry, just add one thing too, that a lot of the stuff on the letter I received, I believe to be with my neighbor to the north. 2 days after I received this letter, he packed up and moved. There hasn't been junk vehicles on that street since.
Darren,
Darren Jensen, 104 West Highway 23, and also the property at 404 Lincoln. The property at 404 Lincoln is a single mother with a child and 3 family members in Mexico yet. She's trying to get her family here. We have been working diligently to get people to help her clean her yard. It is a rental property to us, so we try and work with her to keep her yard cleaned up. The screens that come off of her window were put back on. The picture of the toolbox is her cooking utensils that she uses for cooking in the doors when they cook outside and barbecue. That keeps that material from blowing all around in her yard, keeps dogs from tracking it all over. So then our property is, it was pictures of our jumps that we use in our arena for the kids that ride in our arena. It is also the picture of our authentic wagon that was there when we purchased the property from Martha Lance. Back in 1999. That our wagon has been out there. It's been a staple of our yard since we moved here. So I don't. Yes, there's probably not flowers in it this year, but in years past there has been flowers in it, and we do like to keep it decorated at Christmas time. So there's that. In years past, I've dealt with these. I've had these come through my property where my business is at, and I've always had a second notice. Not it's all one time, and now you're going to jail for it. So, what happened to our second notice, and was this taken care of? Was this addressed? There's where my concerns lie on this. So, thank you for your service.
unfinished business, there being no unfinished business, we're going to start new business. Action and discussion on letter of understanding of services with AMG Middle PCD. To forecast grant budget forms, grant year 2023 through June 30th, 2024. And then forward to the following year. This is the typical letter.
It's very wording on the agenda item. So it's not that same actual letter. It's I think you've got. Let's it's great. Very catching that. So that got this. I got this. The letter. Step down. So Chris is the standard language. And with our agreement with the office, so that we just the checkbook price and all that, so it's all. It's the rules, yeah, so.
Start.
That's what I'm saying, forecast information for that. Each one. Scared.
Sure. Act 30, I know it was close price. Most of that increase over the year, so. Now I did transfer it in points. The other additional information we got. She responded all of that. So it would be the third, so whether it's she was knowledge or.
You don't have. We don't. Okay, what's it? See, I don't come back right now. That's kind of.
Motion discussion of setting date, China does for public hearing. Budget 2024, my budget statement. It's not this one, the next one.
So
Individual one. Yeah, we are limited. This is government, justice government.
visited with Tracy, we have, yes, customer item has to be to the county by the fourth of September. Yeah, so, she said that some of them are recommending that if it's on the first part that you do that hearing potentially later then. But if we're planning that we're this point or shooting to go to postcard status, she was recommending maybe that we try to do the hearing on September 3rd, 4th, and 5th with the 11, 12, which did error that we could kind of republish that, we could just one clear. That and why we're picking that is the valuations are supposed to be back by the county from the county by August 19th, so that we can prepare the budget notice. And that's on a Monday this year, so we can get into the paper, and then we may have to even throw a special meeting in there. Like we've got to make changes. Before our meeting, so that we can actually publish it on the night's paper. Yes.
Six.
Yeah.
One of the six. Sure. Six P M. We are, our meeting is 7th, and then that would be. 29. So as soon as published, yeah. Yeah.
So what we would publish in the, or after we got the valuations back, if we felt that we needed a special meeting, we would have one happy potentially for that. For our budget workshop, and like we have it like that. And then we would be able to have great into the paper. We have to have it by the 26th. And then that would be published in the 29th. So we can't, if we need to have before.
Seems like it's very interesting. Sure. It's August and the rest of September, so.
And if we have it on the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, then we would be able to potentially look at it and finalize it on September 10th. Otherwise, we'll have to push it to September 4th. Well, the class was sent in by September 30th.
When is that being published in the paper, for the 26th?
We just have to like. Very notice published, so. Should, weeks, but that's what we're hearing, or whenever we're having a hearing, that's not it, 5 days before the hearing.
Okay. So.
The 11th and 12th, and then, but it would be back up. Essentially, that's what we're looking at.
Just fit to the same place.
Right.
Even.
That's
Just really.
so, there was one. Going to be way at front, essentially, it's 10 to 11, and we're gonna. East down, okay. Yeah, so we have to begin the plans. So we have to. You should not be by date, but. That's.
Can we publish it at the 4th, come back up on the 11th?
Fortunately, you
That
can't
would be
publish
back as 19. Okay, but
Yeah. We didn't have. So.
With the backup,
In the over. Yeah.
we need a motion.
To set the date of September 4th. For the time of the public hearing. Or we could do it. So again,
Jenny was let's say.
and 6.
Yes, thank you. Attorney move Kim second that we have the budget hearing set for September 4th at 6 P.M. Did you?
To relate to this, we go back. Okay, we go back at it, and we just kind of all know that. Like that. Basically.
Obviously, when Tracy on what those days, she was those close to us.
Hearing move Kim the second for budget meeting in September 4th at 6 P.M. Any discussion? Andrew, how do you vote? Yes. Sam?
Yes.
Yes. Jenny? Yes. Motion carried. Worksheet and discussion of funding agreement between the city of Bryant, which is for machinery. In order to get funds for this quality, we should.
Very good process, final visions, some, these not, some, changes, funding ready place for the provider. The chamber requires for the last version of our operating expenditures. This close to 5 of this first what.
And we will see this kind of through a whole meeting for the distribution. We have already paid out for this, so we're gonna see the recruitment.
Sorry.
And you need. Many organizations, yeah, it's.
And the chamber was in great.
Shows our, the change of president, sorry, sections.
You're to accept the funding agreement between the city of Grant. With the chamber of commerce to operate marriage sign.
Second.
In your submit to. Move forward with funding agreement between the city of Grant and the chamber of operation sign and inspection. Sam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried. You're gonna introduce yourself and.
I'm gonna go first while Ashley gets set up there for presentation. I'm Amber Kuski. I'm the Executive Director of West Central Nebraska Development District. Just so that, because we have a little bit of some people who are not as familiar with the process, I think it's always good to refresh on that. To clarify, City of Grant has participated in nuisance in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 21, 23, 24. So there was a big gap in there between those service dates. West Central developed this program before any of us had the positions that we have. I was probably in high school, to be honest with you. And it has been an extremely successful program for communities to take part in to clean up their communities. But we completely understand the concern, as do all of you, I'm sure. If we, when West Central is chosen to be the nuisance officer for a community, it's a fair and equitable review of a section of town. It's not the entire community. It is a designated section of the community. So the process generally follows that the agreement is agreed upon with the city and West Central, which entails the section that will be reviewed and the pricing. And then West Central does publish press releases saying, in your local paper saying, just so you know, this cleanup project is happening. We will be reviewing your town. So we try and give as much information as we can, but again, I understand completely. So then we do an initial property review. That is the assessment where we drive in our car. We call those windshield assessments because we don't ever get out of the vehicle. I know there's been people who have said, why didn't you come talk to me? Believe it or not, there are safety concerns when you approach, and we have encountered that. So it is my top priority to keep my staff extremely safe in doing this job, a job that's not desired by a lot, but we've really got it down to a science. So we do the windshield assessment, then we send out the courtesy letters. The addresses are based upon how your property is registered at the assessor's office. So if your address is not what your mailing address is, we have no way to know that. Courtesy letters are sent out. In those letters, it does say, please contact us. And we mean that wholeheartedly. We give a number of extensions each year to property owners. We're willing to work with them. We have no way to know how the items are being used. If it's for a non-traditional use or if it's for a business use, etc. We just have no way until we talk to those property owners. So we really encourage that communication. Then after, this is not the end all be all, it's just a courtesy letter. We do a second review. We never tell anyone, no one in this room besides Ashley knows who received the courtesy letters. We don't inform anyone of that. It's anonymous until the point where they become come in front of the council to be declared. So if they've been granted an extension or they've cleared their property, no one will ever know that that's come in front of them. So we'll do a second review, then we decide if the property should be recommended for declaration, which is what we're going to be in front of the council for tonight. After that, it's still another almost 30 days to clean up, basically until your meeting at this time next month. And then there's motion to abate, 5-day notices, And a lot of the declared letters, the reason that they're sent certified is because we have to give due process to property owners through state statute. I would love to save the money on postage as well, but we wouldn't be able to uphold any of the process in that case. So we do send those certified mail. And if a property owner at some point has not received their mail, we would know that and we would be able to post and publish the property as well to, again, ensure due process. So while we're in the beginning stages of this, it would be some time before we were at the point of abatement. There's multiple notifications that go out to property owners between courtesy letter and the potential abatement. So one of the things that we just really like to touch on is that it is a fair and equitable process. We don't know whose property we're looking at because we are not from here. So we don't have any way of knowing who to favor. We don't favor anyone. So that's one of the things that's good about hiring a third party company to do this work. Again, we just like to work with every property owner that we can. We'll make it right with you. The number of calls that our office received prior to, I would say Friday, was very, very few. And as you know, it takes some time for you to prepare your agenda. So the things that we've received have been after the deadline that was set in the courtesy letter. And again, if we don't follow some kind of set process with the deadlines, we would be in front of you going, next, take that one off, next, take that one off, because we would have talked, we can't be wishy-washy about the process. At the time of the review, we have photographic evidence that there was a nuisance at the property. And those are the kind of things that Ashley will go over tonight in her presentation. So I would say the number of phone calls that we received, again, within that deadline outlined on the letter is probably the biggest concern for us. Please call us. We'll work with you anytime. Lastly, I just want it to be known that West Central Nebraska Development District is a nonprofit organization. We do economic development. This is not the prettiest side of the job, but we want to be living in a region that has beautiful, safe communities. So we've reviewed more than 18,000 properties for the number of years that we've been in this nuisance abatement business. But most importantly, we've received more than $65 million in funds for the communities that we serve. More than 4 million of that has been in the last 3 years alone. So we are doing other great things. This is just one service that we can provide to offer safe and healthy communities. And so with that, that's all I have to say, just to clarify the process and hopefully give some clarity prior to Ashley presenting on the actual properties.
Before Ashley presents. Process, writing developer. Process, writing developer.
Care if you ask the question.
What's, I don't know.
Rally is public comments, time to do that, well, we're gonna let you leeway, so as long as you're respectful, and I think we can allow that.
Yeah, so our situation, we got on, here's the other one. There we go, when these sent out, and the other folks in the room got it, it went to Kentucky to our mortgage lender. So you go to the county assessor and our billing address is P.O. Box 172, Grant, Nebraska 69140. So our question is why?
Hold on, so I heard.
Yeah, I had a
I
friend
looked up the certified
stuff
mail
to me.
to Louisville, Kentucky, and I was like, yeah, they're not gonna tell us.
Talk about getting blindsided, trying to keep your laundry in 100-degree weather 2 days. And all of a sudden you get a picture from your alley and you're like, hey, so.
Sure, and again, we understand that concern. We have I'm happy to show you the information that we pulled off of the Perkins County G-Works site. That's where we get that. A good work by that, just
So like this, remember future, we didn't actually. Of this, because we didn't even have a chance to, I mean, I will.
Perhaps, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Sure, please, question.
When we get our tax statements, everything, when our taxes go up, when I have to pay our bills, it all goes to the inbox once. So why this? We will check. Because once it's connected, it's listed on the list. Yeah, that's something that probably.
This is just straight up, it does show it incorrectly. The Newport County assessment website.
If we don't.
Well, and again, that's, and again, there's more different cuts to follow, but you should have no price you right. Most your words.
That's what it-
So like in the abatement side, then the abatement. Is that process? Is that? It's like you guys go and pick up my tires and get rid of them, let's process there. Yeah.
Do you mind if I clarify about the abatement process? Okay, I was asked, I just didn't want to so the whole program is decided by the city, and so we present to them and they make the decisions based upon our recommendations, and then if once down the road we were at the point of abatement, we would hire a third-party contractor to do that work.
Who's that?
It's different each year and depending on what kind of needs to be done. So
Fine.
and it depends on the year and the available contractors. It could be a number of different people. And sometimes
The abatement, is it at the meeting or?
the city, and then the city can assess that to the property owner. They bill the property owner. They can fix the shoulder.
So that's.
Thanks, forward, Ashley. So go ahead and introduce.
Hi, I'm Ashley Nyman from West Central, and tonight I'm here to present the 2024 nuisance. I have 18 properties on the agenda tonight. These are them. I'm not gonna read the lovely 18.
I'll go ahead with the first one, action and discussion on resolution number 22. Resolution of the city of Grant declaring a nuisance on 542 Central Avenue.
Up first, we have 2024 GRA 1542 Central Avenue, and the first photo is just an identification photo. Here we have tarped items, tires, and tools such as ladder. And that was it for that property. This property owner did not contact us. But site thought.
Our dining over there in that ladder. Sorry.
Said you've already cleaned these. What was like, when did you review these?
The 17th.
I actually lost my ladder, or I was calling him because I one from the picture I showed you. Days after I got the letter, so see, I'm leaving it up. He said, I learned. Guess I didn't know I couldn't park four wheeler. And there's a blade on the four wheeler that I use for snow removal as well. Think the house, I'll agree with me, then I do get rid of it.
Yeah, these are the only items that remain.
And the tire, if you move that to.
Yeah. Straight a big. That's the yellow ladder. That's the word. Because this.
Everybody shares that.
Mhm.
So thank you very much for showing up and explaining to us. As they mentioned, we've been doing this for quite a few years. And probably your properties have not been reviewed, which is, or they were in great condition when they were, which is why you haven't been here. But we do try to maintain as much of a consistent process as possible, and that is if somebody requests an extension or is communicating with West Central, we have not denied that within reason. So I feel as though your presence here and you're saying, hey, I've cleaned it up, I might have an item or two still remaining, and I would like to have some time to clear up. So your presence asking for the extension for the next review is what I'm hearing, is that correct?
Well, I've already cleaned it up to show her the picture. You can't tarp a four-wheeler? Protect it from the weather?
Is that part of it?
So we can move the ladder and I can take it back from her.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes they can't go on your property, so they can't tell what actually what it is. And sometimes that's why they want you to call them and say, hey, can you give some clarification? And so what you're saying is you give some clarification, and anybody that's willing to work with us, we're willing to work with them. You've already put some effort out by cleaning it up. So I would, based on what we've normally done in this situation, is we would offer an extension, and then this means that when it comes back next month, we're gonna have perfect evidence that it's not this all cleared and done, and it will just fall away and nothing will ever happen, and it'll never be declared a nuisance.
I'm good.
Okay?
so was that a motion?
But can,
Yeah.
Second.
that's gonna do it four-wheeler. I have to haul my four-wheeler off somewhere else.
You'll have to discuss with exact clearance, it says here. You gotta move search.
Sam move, Andrew second, that we give a 30-day extension on property at 542 Central Avenue. Any more discussion? So just so that the gentleman who's present asking what would need to be cleared to make sure that this is not a nuisance at the next meeting. So we understand that people have vehicles that they've put a car cover on, not everybody has a garage to store these items, so your communication would be that now that we know what's in it, good, we're okay. I just wanna make sure he's clear on what needs.
Your four-wheeler's fine, it's just,
Yeah.
like I said, even in the
Well,
picture, I
it
can
just
I can
looks-
tell what it looks like really good.
Yeah.
The only thing we can see is the tire, so it's on another.
Well, I leaned the tire against it so the wind didn't blow the tarp.
It's no different than a car.
Yep.
You're
Okay, what about my ladder? I just take it back to work or?
What's your current?
In mine.
Yeah, so it's not, okay, so ordinances, it has to be disorganized piled items, and it's not, there's
That's not.
sometimes just communication earlier, when you communicate and tell us what it is, that makes it, that helps us put some place.
Well, the pictures in my letter showed the wood because I did have a bunch of plywood stuff all up there.
Sure, you talked about that, you did that, so,
It's already gone.
yeah, great, thank you for doing that.
So we have a motion on the floor to grant an extension. Any more discussion? Sam moved, Andrea second. Tierney, how to go? Yes. Kimberly? Yes. Sam?
Yes.
Andrea? Yes. Motion carried. Extension on 22 Central.
Next, we have 2024 GRA 7440 Central Avenue. And we have tires, scrap iron, and rims. And also in the first picture, it's kind of really hard to see if you go back the slide, Ed. Against, I think the senior center, there's tires there that were there my first review that have not moved, but it's in the shadow. It's really hard to see from that picture. And we have not had any contact with this property owner.
Resolution 240603, resolution of the mayor and the city of Grant declaring a nuisance on 40 Central Avenue.
So how is a tire shop supposed to store their tires outside?
Normally we would ask what their process is of how often they dispose of them, how they store them, how are they making sure water is not collecting in the tires, but we have not heard.
They contact to explain the situation. We would.
So if they give us a schedule of how, like frequently their tire man would come and take their tires, like dispose of them.
So that communication. And they're not here tonight. That's for essentially, is that correct?
Three four six three, we're gonna declare nuisance property for police patrol.
And I move to receive and for a nuisance under Jimmy Circuit, resolution 406 for three nuisance. Free such annual switch. To know. Send and replace version. Great, next one.
Next, we have 2024 GRA 15 PID 6800731775. Here we have a wooden spool, pallet, packing crate, and tire. And then we have another, yes, there's. Scrap iron, tin, and center blocks. Another slide. An unsecure structure. With a hole in the building. And I think, yeah, that's it for that. Yep.
Move resolution 240604 declare 6800731775 portion number nuisance.
Sorry.
Never removed, since things that. Resolution 240604 declaring metric. Personal identification number 6800731775 a nuisance in the discussion.
Next we have 2024 GRA 16 PID 6800865001. Here we have scrap wood, a tire, and an unlicensed vehicle, and the scrap wood and the tire is on the trailer. In an unsecured structure. And that is it for that slide, and there was no communication with the property owner.
I just see a lot of kids on this program. This is my third. See my husband never used to dress to food.
Can't communicate why people haven't followed the standard or haven't followed the law, but the ordinances are city ordinances, they're actually city laws, we all have to abide by them.
Like your minor sentences, your most communication. Like listen. So you're not ever gonna learn. Not yours.
I don't think everybody got letters. Well, we know one person didn't get a letter. Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that. We'll get there. Alright. There is a communication process. I know, but the thing is like, when it went through, I know this is, but all of our properties, even my house was looked at. Okay, and the reason why we have, I understand, so you got a letter. So, I mean, we all have to follow the same rules and there is no exception. There are those questions, there are any exceptions, there are zero exceptions. Everyone's gotta follow the same rules. Now, you do not like an ordinance and that's fine. There's a process to change that. And there, if you guys want, there's a process in our ordinance that you don't like, then we can certainly address that. Some of these, this is a city law that's been established before. We weren't even on council. And so we don't get to pick the laws that are first. We have to follow, but we can change laws.
What about throwing stones, for ordinance, anybody in this room, if a lawyer doesn't communicate, you know, it's property, pick up the phone and call. Right here, are you kidding me, guys? Oh, it's Evans Lumber's property, it's been their property for 100 and some
The
years.
trust's been there since 1972.
Right.
Trust me.
So I mean, was Adams Lumber informed, it's just like Frenchman. Frenchman Valley Flatbush has no idea that you guys took pictures,
They received a letter, it was picked up.
Certified mail.
but didn't get to the right person and figure it out. I mean, we gotta have a little bit of follow-up on this. Can't just jump to conclusions on this without having just a little bit of follow-up. I get the letter as a safe approach, I understand that. But we all know, you can look at the GIS, no one owns the property. I guarantee it's in Sean Denny King, John Denny, I think, doesn't it? Right, that's just.
So with that, that way, it's, with that, I don't know if you're a rental, you're the rental property, you don't know.
It's on behalf of us. Sorry, I'll pray it's communication, right?
Right, we have city ordinance rules, all those things, we hire a company that does it, takes it, it's completely impartial. I understand you don't like the process, and maybe we can look at, I understand what I'm hearing is, we need to do the process, I get that, okay?
That's
Maybe
what I'm
there's some
saying.
things we can be improved in this process, but this is kind of what we're at right now. All of you knew that you were on this agenda and you showed up and you talked to us.
Yeah, Brent,
Okay. So with that, things
because
are,
I'm a-
that can show there can be a process that can change.
What I'm saying is, I'm not defending these folks, but, you know, the co-op that does your tires, these folks that do your concrete, you buy your wood lumber from, do they really know that they are a nuisance? That's the question I'm asking.
This meeting, and then when and if property is declared, to receive another communication. So now it's gonna be posted in the agenda for the city council meeting. They receive a certified letter, they will receive another letter after the declaration. And you can ask people in this room how long it takes to abate property. It's a very long, arduous process. There's nothing.
I want
else
to try
on this. Okay. But we've been accused of being unfair. We've now been accused of being not impartial enough, like. We're not gonna please 100%.
But we also have to follow Nebraska state statute, so there's just a thing too. So there's due process, right, so there is also a process we absolutely have to follow, even if you don't like it, even if this makes sense.
Right, this kind of does, you guys would agree. And they want us to
Some here, some stuff, the way the city government has to work, it just makes sense, because I would run my business or anything. So I gotta follow Nebraska state statute, you gotta follow the law, even when it doesn't make sense.
Just for clarification that Sandy, you hit on it. West Central follows the state statute. That's why it's a certified letter, because it's written out in state statute that way. That's why we have to go to the assessor to get the assessor site to get the address to mail the proper notification to.
Tana can't defend that Ed picked up the phone and called Sean and said, hey,
And also,
property is.
also to reiterate that. That's a collective perspective.
Get it, I totally get it, but it's not defendable. From a city's perspective, like we can't have Tana walk into a court of law and say, well, Ed called Sean.
We also don't get it.
Or we don't.
You don't get the information until they present it. I mean, that's part of the impartial.
So the
Highest.
Friday is when we found them.
I knew what I heard. No, right, no, but.
One more thing to add, I apologize, but so if I'm clear, if I want to clear this up just a little bit. This is actually
only the second phase of what is going on with this. So nobody's getting in trouble for hearing this. It's just, we come, we took pictures. This was the date, this is the date. We come back and took pictures. This didn't happen. Now, what is our next step? Is that where we're at on this? And so this is truly the communication that has, we all feel has been dropped. But this is actually just the process as it's moving and moving forward, correct?
And we have to follow, like everything else, the way the state statutes guide us. We can't go around that. We have to follow the laws of the state.
I'm sure these young ladies face this every time they go and open up a new quadrant. And so it does need to happen, so it's a little bit smoother process for everybody.
But it's gotta be followed. And the other thing is,
Yeah, we can't-
if a property is declared a nuisance tonight, they can clear it up. And the next meeting, they can have cleared and we will clear the nuisance. So this is how it's worked. We cleared over, we've cleaned up over 100 streets for town in the last couple of years. So a lot of times it doesn't even get to this point. So when it gets to this point, a lot of times very rarely have to abate. I think we've had a 94% clearance rate when the property owner has taken upon themselves to clear the property. We try not to ever go on your property. We don't want to do that once you clear yourselves.
Great.
Well, no, we'll get to his. Yeah, we're not there. This one has no communication. I understand the concerns, but you know, we have had public comment and we've entertained these conversations more than we necessarily have to, but I appreciate your concerns. So I address them also.
So we're still with resolution 2406 new contact. Did the certified letter get signed?
As far as we know, yes.
Got right.
It did not get returned.
Did you have a posting in place?
We're not at that stage yet.
Courtesy letter is just that.
It's just a courtesy.
Declared as when we are required to make sure that they picked up their certified.
Great.
There's also statutes in place for that as well. Right now, letters, but nothing that is required to go into the newspaper.
Yeah, we're on J. Yes,
Make a motion that, on resolution 240605 to declare a nuisance. PID 68008650.
Terry moved, Terry seconds, we move forward with resolution 240605, declaring a nuisance from PID 68008650. Any discussion? Jeremy, how do you vote? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Linda? Yes. Motion carries. Resolution 240606, this is at 101 West First Street.
Here we have scrap iron, auto parts, tire, axle. I think that is a tire and axle. And that's it for this side, and there was no contact.
Jeremy moves and second that you accept resolution 24. Declaring music at 101 West First Street and. Discussion. Yes. Motion carried. Alright. Resolution 240607 is 333 Lincoln.
Do you want me to read them after you read them? Okay, 2024 GRA 30338 Lincoln Avenue. Here we have construction materials on the porch and buckets.
This is
Sam. There is. So, so second entry. Sam moved, Andrea second, that right? Six, seven, there's. Any discussion? Andrea, yes, Sam, yes, Tony, yes.
Sorry, they confirmed notification. Yes.
Motion. Resolution 20-06.
All right, 2024 GRA 31404 Lincoln Avenue, and we did have communication with the landlord. In the first photo, this was from the first review. My second photo, for some reason, was foggy and it's hard to see, but the toolbox is still there in the bag of trash. I don't know, trash, discarded goods. The trash bag on the fence was still there. And then the window screen along the side of the house. And this is the west side for this.
Yeah, you said it was very bad.
Yes, window screen back. This is the actual window screen that was off, and then this is the other window where actually that the pins come out of it. But the window screen's picked up, the trash bag's off of the fence. The toolbox is what they keep it, all that stuff, so the dog doesn't tear it all up. So, and we are working, her kids are coming back, and so her family's all together, so they can take better care of it.
The toolbox is covered. You said it's got a great fit.
Yes, the toolbox has got a bid. Yes, that's that one. Well, it's right there in the picture. That's what keeps dogs from dragging everything's all over the yard. So that's what the toolbox is. And it's
$24.
Terry, here's the second, the 30-day extension. This one, the property 404, and having deliberation. 40608.
Motions, just 30 day extensions after it.
Right, to clarify, we caution 30 days because our next review date would be prior to 30 days. So we wouldn't be able to get this on your next agenda if it hasn't been ratified. Completely up to you, but we also want to be transparent just in case you're wondering why the process isn't moving along.
I would have to double check.
Yes, that would be.
Next review date, the
Extension.
So Tierney, here is your motion to remove 30 day. Yes. And yes, Sam or Ty. Yes. I second.
Motion number 4, which is second to give a 30-day extension from the next review date to oh, to the next. To the next.
And any property owners that are present with clarification in that date can contact your office. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Andrew, yes, Sam, yes, Attorney, yes.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then that will measure motion coming to once. That was also. So next would be.
Saturday. Okay. Which the one. The D.
Switch to be extended to extra people. 5, 4, 2, 3.
Yes. Jeremy? Yes. Sam?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried. Resolution
2024 GRA 32 428 Lincoln Avenue. And we have had communications with the property owner. It was also after the deadline. He has just fencing, paneling, these couple items, and that's it. He says he has removed them. I let him know that we would review at our next review. And he was okay with
Based on communication and the fact.
Sam, Blue, attorney, second, special. And an extension, the next review date on the property at 428 Lincoln Avenue, consider the resolution towards the field from the fifth. Any discussion? Jeremy, how do you vote? Yes. Yes, Sam?
Yes.
Kimberly? Yes. Motion carried. Get that, yes. All right, now, resolution 24/610.
2024 GRA 39 521 Garfield Avenue. And we've had no communication from the property owner. We have a wheelbarrow, tools such as ladders and construction equipment.
Attorney moved, Andrea second, Bill. Move forward with resolution 24/610. Declaring the nuisance of Putnam Avenue. Jesus. Captain Lloyd, Walters, to this. Ingram, to Sam, motion carried. All right, resolution 24/610.
2024 GRA 41 545 Sherman Avenue. We have had communication with the property owner. He has said he has moved the items, which was a wheelbarrow and scrap iron tin panels. He said he had moved them. I let him know that I would expect that at my next review.
Moving, extended to which review date, resolution 24/611, act by certified Sherman Avenue. Second.
Kimberly moves, Sam seconds, the extension. Was probably at 5 Sherman Avenue. Concerning resolution 24/06. Love. Yeah. You need to. Yes. Yeah, resolution 24/0612.
2024 GRA 46 437 Sherman Avenue. We have not had any communication from this property owner. They've had wheelbarrows, scrap, the windows, scrap wood, receptacles, and discarded goods. And some more scrap iron fencing.
Resolution 24/612, the nuisance at 157 Sherman. We moved 30 seconds that we resolution 24/612, declaring the nuisance at 437 Sherman Avenue. Any discussion? And Sam, yes, Tuesday, motion carried. All right, resolution 24/613.
2024 GRA 48 420 Garfield Avenue. We have not had any communication from the property owner. Here we have scrap iron and discarded goods.
Or 613 and 20.
Now, really kind of this. We have a resolution 24/613. Declaring a nuisance at 420 Redwood Road. Any discussion? So, I love that. Yes. Sam. Motion carried. Resolution 240614.
2024 GRA 050444 Garfield Avenue. We have not had any communication from the property owner. We have unlicensed trailers.
Attorney moved, Karen moved second. That would be for the resolution from this court. Certainly, claiming a nuisance for authority. File the movement for discussion. Go ahead. It's time to. Resolution 2406.
All right, 2024 GRA 51328 Garfield Avenue. We have had communications with this property owner. He has unlicensed vehicles and an unsecure structure and an appliance. He did say he is going to remove the vehicles and the appliance.
Resolution 240615. Election, okay. Andrew moves down second, that he given an extension to the next review date concerning the property at 328 Avenue, resolution 240615, any discussion? Motion carried. Thank you. Resolution 240616.
2024 GRA 56445 Warren Avenue. We have had contact with the property owner. I believe it's okay. Yep. So we have scrap wood or scrap iron / wood, pallets, packing crates, and a tag. I guess the orange, I'm not sure, metal art. That's a what?
Still want it in the alley. We go ahead and talk about this. Yeah, whatever. It's sick.
So basically, if it's in a fence and hidden, it's carried, right?
All
Like,
the stuff, but. That's.
terrible, yes. I had,
It's nice back there.
I can see, like, I've always heard from main roads, I guess it didn't mean alleys.
What's that, ma'am? I just wonder what you said. Sorry, I didn't hear.
But,
Any other questions? We got contact with the others here tonight. So
Oh, it's like that.
Doesn't look
I
like
think it doesn't even look like.
I figured it out, yes.
that.
Right, Kentucky. Or maybe.
For you guys.
Yeah, well, give them a call tomorrow and do a discussion. Sure.
I can't say that.
Make a motion, to offer an extension, resolution 240616, property 445 Warren Avenue. The next review.
Sam moved, Attorney second, that we. Extension to the next review date for 25 Doyle Avenue. 616, any discussion? Truly. Yes, turn to it, Sam.
Yes.
Maria, yes, commercial day. All right, resolution 240617.
2024 GRA 59436 Sherman Avenue. We have had contact with the property owner. Believe we have tools, center blocks, rims, and discarded fence.
I mean, it's still. It's 100% better than it was last week. I'm not. Never seen snake over it, my yard, and everything, so. He's hard of hearing, I'm guaranteed you, 90% of the hearing. So,
After our conversation today, I have a better understanding of what they use these items for. So
you see, Charles. Already.
I asked if she could stack the center blocks when not in use. She agreed. She says that the other things are used because he fixes lawnmowers. We can do an extension. Yeah. They just need to be stacked neatly if they're not in use.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to listen to the motion that's on the floor, guys. I move to accept action on resolution number 24/06/17 to move to the next review date for property 3436 Sherman. That means we got step. Tierney moved, Kimberly second, that we offer an extension to the next review date for property at 436 Sherman Avenue concerning resolution 24/16/17. Any discussion? Sam, how are you? Over. Yes, yes. Motion carried. Thank you, guys. Resolution 24/06/18.
2024 GRA 66620 West Sixth Street. We have had contact with the property owner. We had tools and scrap wood, and he has said he has moved everything, and I told him that I would confirm that at my next review.
619 extend 18 extend. Removed and that we extension to the next review date. 621 Sixth Street concerning resolution 24/06/18. Any discussion?
Yeah, those bricks look set.
Yeah, it's the tools and the, okay, thank you.
That looks, that seems to define step.
Great. Tanya? Yeah. Sam?
Yes.
Andrea? Motion. All right, resolution 24/06/19.
2024 GRA 81104 West Highway 23. We have had contact with the property owner right here. And we were more concerned about the pallets on the wagon, not the wagon itself.
Then look. We'll go over Kelly Creek versus. Tierney moved, Sam second, step. Extension to the next review date to 24 West. I am 23 concerning the resolution 2619. Any discussion? Tierney, Sam?
Yes.
Andrea? Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Resolution 20.
There's the summary. Overall, we reviewed 212 properties section. That's okay. I sent out 76 courtesy letters, 54 properties cleared, 4 properties with extensions. Now we have more properties with extensions, but 18 properties is what I was recommending to declare. So I think we are off to a really great start. I mean, yes. That was in my review.
Thank you so much for coming here today.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
I do have a folder that has some updated information.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. So yours was. Yeah.
Get that. Exactly.
So. Going back to action item.
Thank you, guys.
Understanding with services of EMGLPC to prepare the forecast for the city budget forum. So the year 2023, 24,
Yeah.
25. And Tawny did communicate with us that she did review it. Fine.
I move to accept, a letter of understanding with AMGL for our budget season.
Second. Andrea moved and Kimberly second that we accept the letter of understanding with AMGLPC. Any discussion?
No, I don't have any.
Anybody else have any discussion? No. Sam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Tierney?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, guys. So I did have a question. What year was we looked at? Yeah.
For AML, we're still in our 3-year period.
We're in the 3-year period.
This year, each member,
Yeah.
we'll go back out to bid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as long as you got on a calendar, like we do everything else to do due diligence. All right, back to item W. Wait, B, sorry, B. Victory. Resolution 240620, a resolution for Southwest Nebraska Community Veteran for increasing funds for community assessment.
This is for the housing study. We're providing that for that housing study so that we may apply for rural workforce housing funds in the future. And it has to be a current housing in 2 years.
The other one is like, was it 12 or 14, 15 years? Cause I looked at it.
2000. That was a county,
That was a
that was a
county.
county housing study.
This will apply to our new subdivision?
This will aid us in applying for rural workforce housing for our new.
Outstanding.
And this will be specific to the city.
And what are these typically costs?
For the housing study, well, they had originally contracted, Southwest had originally contracted with Hannah Keelan. And Hannah Keelan was unable to meet the deadline, so I believe they went back to the drawing board. I don't know if you're still on the board, you may be able to provide more context in this than I can. I just have communications with New Zealander. And they picked Bobby Pettit, 5 Rural Planning, who we worked with for our Blight and Substandard study here recently. I know our portion of it is $3,000 matching. I don't know the total cost.
Okay.
That's their budget.
Well, it's for a study, that's pretty good. Okay, all right. Any other questions or?
I'll move to accept action on resolution number 24-06-20. Southwest Nebraska Community Betterment Corporation to receive funds for community assessment study.
Second.
Tierney move, Sam second, that we move forward with resolution 240620. Resolution for Southwest Nebraska Community Veteran Corporation to receive funds from community assessments. Any discussion? Andrea, how do you vote?
Abstain due to the fact that I'm an executive board member on there.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Yes.
Tierney? Yes. Kimberly?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. All right. You is related to.
No,
No.
C.
Oh, you know what? I have C wrote down here.
Okay, C and W. That's all.
C and W. Yes. All right.
We were trying to keep the resolution numbers in order, so that was the reason why it wasn't attached to C.
That's why I went. Let's go back. C.
So this just provides the actual transfer expenditure of funds to the chamber based on the funding agreement. In resolution form.
Alright, so these are tied together, so we had to do both.
Yes.
This is coming out of the economic development fund.
So we can.
I'm gonna take action on resolution number 240621. Orange County Chamber, the funds from the city of Brandon Economic Development Fund for fireworks. Right, right now.
Yeah. Sam moved and all seconds that we accept resolution 240621 and resolution ordering and Chamber of Commerce to provide funds for this speed of the beginning of 12 with fireworks, we were at 1,000 trips. Reading discussion. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's question for you. Did everyone review the bills and plans? Yeah, I saw you. So,
It's the same game.
okay, so we're good. Thank you. And there's two numbers because.
Just in case the.
Right.
Right, we trying to keep different amount.
So we could pursue, minors, which were really $275 this year. So that's my discount, so.
So this is where you can put your TV.
The 275 was. Kimberly moved, Terry seconds, that we accept. Terry, you heard it? Kimberly? Yes. Sam, is Julia? Carried. We are adjourned at 8:40. Thank you.